Ministry. He is currently the Member of Parliament on the ticket of the NDC for Bongo constituency. He's also on the Mines and Energy Committee of Parliament. He's joined us on the line. Honourable, you're welcome to Eyewitness News.
Good evening,
You've had your colleague in Parliament and Minister for Energy speak about the power situation in the country. I want to hear your perspective, first of all, in line with the general calls that have been made for the publication of a timetable and the instruction that was given by PURC for that to be done.
Thank you very much. So first and foremost, let me state that the public comments by Honorable Matthew Opoku-Prempeh, those comments are very unfortunate. It is a sign that you have a group of people who simply cannot care as to how people feel. You can see arrogance in his comments. You can see disrespect for even the people who, by their grace, made you who you are in terms of being a minister of state. Now, to the specific issues. One, the issue is that you have had a situation where for about 1 year since January up to today, there have been consistent curtailment of power supply to areas within the country. But this is not done in a very organized manner. And so people are not able to plan their lives around these outages. Indeed, the very reason for a load management schedule is just to let the clients, the customers, who rely on the services of the Electricity Company of Ghana or the Northern Electricity Distribution Company, which is the northern part of the country, they just expect that after we expect some service from you, but you are unable to provide us with service. Tell us in very plain language, when do I expect to have my lights off? That's a very simple question to ask. If it is a situation where it is just maybe 1 day, 2 days, but to have a sustained challenge for almost 3 months, and when people call for a timetable, you call those people doomsayers, people who wish evil for the country. That tells you the level of disrespect. But see, in his comments, if you listen to the comments he made, one of the things that he said, that for me, sometimes I think that journalists must hold such people to account for. Again, look, Thunder, you will recall that actually the issue of power deficit that we have, it's not the first time it's happening. It's true. He mentions the issues at the period of the John Mahama government. But the difference between the two are this. John Mahama was not the cause of dumsor. John Mahama inherited years of underinvestment in the sector. You will recall that in 2006, 2007, under President J. Nkufo, we went through this power crisis. When we went through the power crisis, I recall the then Minister for Information coming to Parliament and indicating that dumsor will end by the 31st of September. Little did he know that September has no 31st. If you recall that. And you recall the other time when pastors moved to Akosombo Dam and prayed to God that God should bring rain so that Akosombo Dam, the levels will go up, just so that Akosombo can increase its capacity and be able to produce power for us to solve the issue of dumsor. So there was investment. Then you had the NDC coming to government. When a challenge happened, John Mahama knowing very well that when you inherit the reins of government, you inherit both the liabilities and assets. So the issue of power challenge was a liability. He accepted responsibility as a leader and said, I will fix it. By 2016 December, when he was leaving government, he indicated that he had solved it. And indeed, the current flag bearer of the NPP had said that nobody should praise John Mahama for resolving dumsor, because after all, that was his job. So there was even an acknowledgement of Vice President Bawumia that John Mahama had resolved the issue. From 2017, The challenge we have had is that over the period, for 7 years, yes, there has been stability of the power sector. But the question you need to ask is that let the NPP state one single intervention that they have made to keep the lights on. These are issues that have been dealt with. These were issues that were dealt with between 2013 and 2016. One of the things that they actually did, and that is the part that has now finally caught up with us, is that while they needed to monitor the sector and ensure that the other part of the problem that the energy sector has, that had to do with what the issue of debt was resolved. But if you recall, when NDC was leaving, NDC had indicated that, look, beyond increasing our capacity, we also needed to resolve the issue of legacy debt. And that was why the Energy Sector Levy Act was passed. Said that the receivables that will come as a result of this act will be used in retiring the legacy debt that was occasioned over the years. And you recall that Boache Jacob had indicated in Parliament when he came and said, the total legacy debt was about 2.4 billion. Now, the sad story today, the sad commentary today is that not only have we not been able to retire the debt, what the government has done is to increase the tenure of this particular law from 5 to 10 years, use the receivables of this particular fund to mortgage to take an amount of about $10 billion. Unfortunately, these $10 billion, we were not able to retire the debt. And indeed, if you look at the level of debt now, it has quadrupled to the extent that the IMF has indicated that the greatest threat to our economy is the energy sector, the indebtedness in the energy sector. And so if you have a situation like this, it has finally rendered all the players in the value chain in producing electricity cash trapped. As I speak to you now, you have Gridco having to go for overdraft to pay salaries. You have B having to go for overdraft to pay salaries. If people cannot even pay their workers, do you think they will have money to be able to cover their operational costs? It is the issue of indebtedness that has brought us to where we are. And it is a creation of this current government. So for NAPO to have indicated that the dumsor at this time is not like that of John Mahama was not only irresponsible, but he was not kind to the facts. And that is part of the thing that I think for a sector that is so important to our economy, these are not the responses he should be making. Particularly when you and I know that he will not go and sleep in darkness. He would not. Let's even assume that his area is put off. The thing is that he can have a genset to put it on. And see, Omar, before you ask your next question, you call that he made a statement that ECG itself says that we are not induced and therefore they are not going to publish a load sharing schedule. You know what is happening? Anytime Gridco brings out their daily supply outlook about the amount of generation capacity we have for that, the available capacity, and they compare it to the demand, and they realize that the demand outstrips the supply, they normally will give all the distribution companies, but that's NETCO and then ECG, that share some amount of power. So they give you the specific power to share. Because the ECG, through their managing director, has indicated that they was not doing so, and that they were rather replacing their transformers. They would not share. And so anytime they don't share, and then power is transmitted, because the demand outstrips supply, Gridco at their end will realize that the frequencies are going up. The moment you let the frequency go beyond a particular level, you have what we call total shutdown. Total shutdown or total black is the fact that where the whole country will go off. That is a national security threat. So every time Gridco then sees that from their control rooms, because ECG has refused to share load because of the public pronouncements that have made, Gridco would have necessarily even checking whether you got lights off yesterday or you didn't get lights off yesterday. They will look for the highest load and bring and drop those loads. So, for example, you'll be there and before you realize the whole of Adenta will go off, the whole of Tema will go off, the whole of Dansuma will go off. It's because of the fact that Gridco has realized that ECG has not shared load based on the programmed manner. And therefore, if they don't dump people from the load, what is going to happen is that you are going to have the whole country going off. And that is the situation that we'll find ourselves in.
Interesting. Now, my question was going to be again on this same load shedding issue, which is the big issue for many people. Now that the PURC had given that order to the ECG, and the minister who supervises that sector says there's no such thing and we should expect no load shedding, what do you reckon would happen? Does it mean that's the end of the timetable we are hoping to see, or ECG can go behind the minister and issue a timetable in pursuant to what the PURC has ordered it to do?
Let me tell you one thing. The minister was just trying to be in alignment with the comments that are coming from ECG. And I'll tell you, it's because the minister has no control over the ECG manager. And I'm telling you this for a fact.
You sure?
No, I'm telling you. Look, you remember, and trust me, that today was supposed to be the deadline for some of the orders that had been given by PURC. Am I right? As we speak now, there has not been evidence that ECG has responded to those orders because they don't give a damn as to who is giving those orders, as long as they know that the people who matter in terms of power are behind them. And I'll explain to you, I'll tell you why I'm saying this. Look, if you see ECG categorically say, I will not shed load, and I will not publish anything, and you have a minister, for God knows, for almost 3 months, has not had a public pronouncement. And the only public pronouncement that he has made, I remember that they went for this energy something in one of the hotels where he just made a passing comment. But this is the major statement he has made since this problem changed. And this thing was based on just speaking to disrespect Ghanaians. It tells you that part of it is as a result of frustration. The ECG, as we speak now, will not respond to PURC. And there is a reason. If he has to respond, other people will be exposed. And I'll explain to you. One, PURC has indicated that, look, you say that one of the reasons why these power outages are happening is because you have about 630 transformers that you need to replace. PURC says, fine. You know that on an annual basis, what happens is that every utility, whether it is GRICO, whether it is VRA, or whether it is ECG, whether it is NETCO, they send their tariff proposals to to PURC. Part of the proposal includes investment. So you will say, for example, ECG, just for this ensuing year, or this tariff period, major tariff period that they are doing, I am going to change 630 transformers. That is an investment. Usually it is captured and then factored into the tariff. Now, PURC said, because that then becomes part of your revenue requirement that you need for the period that the major tariff review period. So the question then is that PURC is saying that, look, if you look at your investment requirements that you have made, this has not come into it. Then let's assume that you went out of your way to go and invest because it will lead into efficiency. Show us, give us the GPS location of these transformers. 2, the old transformers that you are changing, tell us what their ratings are. The ratings are basically, they want to know for each transformer, it has its maximum amount of electricity it can consume, it can take. Anything beyond that, the temperature of that particular transformer increases. As it increases, it serves as a threat to the system. So on the basis of that, there's always a rating that is given to them. So he says that, the PURC says that, tell us the ratings of the current transformers and give us the ratings of the new ones you are making. We as PURC, we have engineers to be able to ascertain whether the information you are giving to us is true. 2, you have indicated that part of your money that you were going to use for this thing was that you used, instead of putting it in the cash waterfall mechanism, that was to help make sure that every player within the value chain will get something to at least to cover their operational cost. You had indicated that you had used it to procure fuel for generating companies. The question that PURC asked now, 1, give us the contract, the fuel contract that you have, because if you are going to buy this from bulk fuel suppliers, you will need to have a contract with them. So give us the contract. 2, you said that government told you to do that. Government wouldn't have been telling you that in a Pitoba. They would have given you clearly a directive through a letter. Show us the directives that were received by either the Ministry of Energy or the Ministry of Finance or even the President, saying that you should go and procure crude. Let's do that. Let's also know the quantities that you have procured. On the basis of that, PURC knows that, look, within this ensuing period, I know how much tariffs are approved for you to charge. I know the amount of losses you are making. I will take that and look at on the basis of that, look at the amount of money you have made. And I'll check it with the cash waterfall mechanism account and see whether it matches. The way it matches, then I'll know that yes, you actually did not use it for anything, but you used it even for the system. You would have known that. You have refused to give data to the auditor who was supposed to audit you for that. And the part that is so sad is that you have the President of the Republic of Ghana give you a clear instruction. Then look, because of the fact that you yourself, you can't even account for the power we're giving you. The money you get, I want you to ensure that all the money goes into one account. So have a single account. ECG defies that and currently operating 37 different accounts. When PwC, that's the PricewaterhouseCoopers, ask for you to give us the data, for us to look at each of these accounts and see how we are going to deal with that, we refuse to give them data. If you are not stepping on something strong, look, I believe maybe you people too have that problem. And excuse me, this is not to denigrate my brothers and sisters who are visually challenged. But there's always a proverb that says that when you hear a blind man say that if you joke, I will stone you, it's because he's stepping on one. So he knows that at any time he will just bend down and pick it and stone you. The question then is that if you see ECG through the MD, create the impression that I don't give a damn whether it is PURC, I don't give a damn if it is the auditors who are appointed by the Ministry of Finance, the Ministry of Energy. I don't give a damn whether the President has given me an instruction to, to operate a single account instead of 37 different accounts. It tells that he has some power. Based on that power, he can look at anybody and treat anybody disrespectfully. So don't expect anything. Don't expect that even ECG is going to publish an answer, because you see, it will contradict even the President's own statement and he made to Parliament when he came and indicated that they have kept the lights on. Who born dog? That after the President has said they have kept the lights on, you go and publish a load shedding schedule. You will lose your job.
Very well. Interesting. Thank you. Thank you for speaking to us. That's Honorable Bawa. He is Member of Parliament for Bongo and a member of the Mines and Energy Committee.